It took her some time, but Emma Caulfield eventually became part of the Scooby Gang. Regional Remedies comfort food is a concept that everyone understands. It makes you feel better when you're sick, it cheers you up when you're feeling down, and it reminds you of home. She also became a fan favorite. But which foods are considered comforting can be wildly different based on where you live. On Buffy the Vampire Slayer she was known as Anya and, to date, that is probably the role Caulfield is best known for. One person's comfort food can be another person's nightmare. As popular as she was then, you may not have seen her lately. Check out these unique regional foods that make a slice of Americans nostalgic for home. Alabama, white barbecue sauce. If you're used to seeing only tomato-based barbecue sauces on your table, the sight of a white sauce in Alabama might be a little startling. Here's where Emma Caulfield has been and what she's doing now. Early Emma Caulfield. Emma Caulfield was a known actress well before she got her big, juicy role on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But the mayo-based, vinegar and black pepper heavy sauce is a great addition to barbecued meats, especially smoked chicken. If you're a fan of ranch, you'll love this stuff. Alaska, akutok, a specialty of native Alaskans. Akutok is sometimes called Alaskan ice cream. She started off with a handful of guest starring roles in popular TV series such as Burke's Law, Saved by the Bell, The New Class, Renegade, Silk Stockings, and Weird Science, but it was her role as Susan Keats in the uber-popular hit series Beverly Hills, 90210 that really put the spotlights onto her. As Keats, Emma Caulfield came on board 90210 show for season 6. It's a dessert made with fresh local berries, sweetener and animal fat, and sometimes dried fish or meat. She was the editor-in-chief at The Condor, a university newspaper, where she has a run-in with Brandon Walsh, portrayed by series star Jason Priestley, with the two eventually becoming involved in their season-long relationship. The fat and berries are whisked with snow to make them smooth, creamy and airy, simulating the texture and look of ice cream. Today, vegetable shortening is often substituted for animal fat because it's readily available. The media could not be loaded, either because the server or network failed or because the format is not supported. Arizona, Cheese Crisp. A cheese crisp is deceptively simple, it's just a large, fluffy flour tortilla that's topped with shredded cheese and broiled. It's crisp, served open-faced, and cut into wedges, so it's more like a simple pizza than a quesadilla. Her character eventually left the show after one season, moving on to Washington, D.C. to help work the Clinton-Gore presidential campaign. Though her time on 90210 was fairly short, Emma Caulfield quickly moved on. But who wouldn't love a crunchy, cheesy tortilla? Find it in restaurants around Tucson. For more great recipes and food trivia, please sign up for our free newsletters. Arkansas, possum pie. There are no possums harmed in the making of possum pie, a regional Arkansas specialty. She picked up a lengthy recurring role on the longtime soap Sudser General Hospital. Instead, it's a pie made with a pecan shortbread crust, a cream cheese-based layer, a chocolate pudding layer, and a crown of whipped cream. Because all you see is vanilla whipped cream and not the chocolate filling, the pie is playing possum to trick you. Try making it yourself from scratch. California, Hangtown Fry. This dish has one of the most bizarre combinations on this list, bacon and oysters. The Hangtown Fry was created when a prospector struck it rich in the gold rush, then went into a hotel and wanted the most expensive dish they could make. That turned out to be an egg dish with bacon and oysters. She played Lorraine Miller, a character who stuck around for a year or so and who then has recently reappeared, like they always do, but this time the character is played by a different actress. Yes, that happens too. Leporophobia. Leporophobia is a fear of rabbits. And while Emma Caulfield's Buffy character of Anya first loved rabbits, she bred them before she became the vengeance demon Anyanka. She could grant wishes of vengeance. Her fear for rabbits took over her life. Emma Caulfield joined Buffy the Vampire Slayer during the show's second season and slowly became a part of the Scooby Gang. Her character lost her power as a vengeance demon, forcing her to live the rest of her life as a mortal high school student. Emma Caulfield brought a wonderful sense of humor to her character, quirky and fun, playing her fear of rabbits to the hilt. Not everyone will enjoy the combo, but who doesn't love a good omelet? Colorado, Slopper. Though the name is a little off-putting, the Pueblo Slopper is a beautiful, sloppy creation. In fact, in one Halloween episode, her response to Xander advising her to wear something scary for Halloween was dressing up as a bunny. Emma Caulfield played Anya on Buffy for a little over 5 seasons, cementing her legacy as one of the show's favorite and most lovable characters. Her sacrifice was a bitter end for fans, one that Caulfield eventually had to acknowledge. Emma Caulfield's eulogy for Anya: leave it to Emma Caulfield to come up with this. A cheeseburger is placed in a bowl and covered with onions, more cheese, and a ladle or two of hot Colorado green chili full of roasted peppers. In 2017, Entertainment Weekly published a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reunion with all its characters, and Caulfield wrote up this wonderful eulogy for Anya. Today we honor our fallen hero, Anya. This is a burger you'll absolutely need to use a knife and fork with. Connecticut, white clam pizza. New Haven-style pizza, called a pizza there, is unique for its charred thin crust cooked in a coal-fired oven. One of the most popular types is white clam pie, topped with garlic, shucked clams, pungent aged cheese and bacon. No made-up maiden name, no married name, no middle names, just Anya. Though she was not an advocate for a single-name moniker in life, it is this writer's belief that Anya would welcome the single-name diva status in death. Any New Haven pizza joint worth its salt will have a version on its menu. Delaware, chicken and slippery dumplings. With a name like Slippery Dumplings, it's hard not to want to slurp them up. Anya was ahead of her time, not only as a soul, but also as a style icon. She began her life as a deceptively simple human. Unlike Southern-style dumplings that are fluffy and biscuit-like, these big, floppy rectangular dumplings are more like fat egg noodles. They're cooked with a homemade chicken stock and vegetables for a hearty, comforting dish. District of Columbia, half-smoke. The capital's version of a hot dog is called the half-smoke, and it's a more substantial sausage than a frankfurter. It's typically made with half beef and half pork, hence the name, smoked, and then griddled before serving. By all accounts, she was a loving wife, a fastidious homemaker, and a passionate animal lover. After a deep betrayal by both her man and her pet rabbits, she shifted effortlessly into a world-class demon. After a millennia as a righteous punisher, Anya's power was lost to her forever. The most famous place to grab one is Ben's Chili Bowl, where they top it with mustard, onions and homemade chili sauce. Florida, conch fritters. Conch is the animal that lives inside those big, beautiful coral-colored shells that wash up on beaches. They taste a little like clams, and in Florida they're most often made into conch fritters. It's similar to a hush puppy but with a seafood pop. Like just about every fried thing, they're great dipped in all kinds of sauces, but something sweet and tangy works best. Georgia, boiled peanuts. In areas where peanuts are not grown, people are generally unfamiliar with boiled peanuts, a Georgia favorite. She was human, again. For the last time. Only fresh, green peanuts are used, and then they're boiled in big vats of water with plenty of salt and sometimes other seasonings. They become soft, like a bean, and are often sold at roadside stands for a locally grown snack. Hawaii, Spam musubi. Hawaiians eat a ton of Spam. Except for that one time she became a demon, again, because betrayal. But once more, with feeling, her powers were taken. It became ubiquitous during World War II as troop rations, and it's just stayed popular. One of the best ways to eat it is Spam musubi, a Hawaiian take on a portable Japanese rice ball wrapped in a sheet of nori. It was then that she finally stuck the landing as a human, and scored a 10 by a panel of invisible judges. Go with it. Throughout her incarnations, Anya experimented with dozens of hair statements. Never at any time did she ask for the opinions of others nor permission from the producers. You can get them plain or dressed up with various sauces, and they're available all over the place for a snack on the go. Idaho, steak fingers. If you ordered fingers in any restaurant outside of Idaho, you'd probably get chicken fingers. But in the western state you'll get steak fingers, made with strips of steak, often marinated in buttermilk and spiced, then breaded and deep-fried. They're just as irresistible as the chicken version, and they come with dipping sauce too. Illinois, the Horseshoe. Iowa, made right sandwich. There's a very specific type of burger-like sandwich in Iowa called the made right. She was a renegade with her own philosophy, everyday people like you and me, come on. She was a glitter-filled rainbow, who sprinkled forever honest fairy dust on friends and foes alike. It's named after the most famous spot to get it, made right, in the same way that tissue is called Kleenex.
Though she died without much fanfare, like, oh well, Anya's dead, later, her courage, her legacy, her selflessness lives on. And that gives me something to sing about. Emma Caulfield. The Emma Caulfield bandwagon. The quirkiness that was Anya truthfully comes from Emma Caulfield. She has a fun way of looking at herself and life in general. This is what 2004's Bandwagon was all about. Caulfield starred in the movie, which gave a satirical look at a fictionalized version of herself. Instead of ground beef being shaped into a patty, it's left as loose meat, so you get a spoon in order to scoop up all the meat that falls out as you eat it. She described to the LA Times how the Emma in the movie is not truly the real Emma. It's simple and satisfying. Kansas, bierock dumplings and types of stuffed bread are common in most cultures, and Eastern Europeans brought one in particular with them to Kansas, bierocks. It's a handheld package of yeasted bread dough baked around a filling of ground beef, shredded cabbage and onions. It's subtle, but the role I'm playing is more of a jerk celebrity that decides to change her image by documenting her experiences with this person, she said. You can also find them with non-traditional fillings, like cheesesteak or sweet stuffings. Kentucky, burgoo burgoo is a stew that's usually made outdoors in large kettles, so it's a common meal at large gatherings and events like family reunions or church suppers. It has a long history in the state, and traditionally has been made with all kinds of game meats and vegetables. Today, it's closely associated with the Kentucky Derby and includes a few kinds of meats and lima beans and corn. Louisiana, Ya Ka Mine is a very interesting mashup of Cajun and Chinese cuisine. She initially hires a crew to follow her around as she fights for better farming practices, but the course changes. Not many people got to see Bandwagon the movie, but that didn't stop Caulfield from bringing herself back. It's a ramen-like noodle soup, often found served in styrofoam cups from corner stores in New Orleans, filled with various meats, boiled eggs, green onions and whatever vegetables are laying around the cook's kitchen. It's popular after parades and festivals as a street food to help cure your hangover. Maine, clam roll. You've definitely heard of the Maine lobster roll, but the clam roll is underappreciated for being a much cheaper, but just as tasty, alternative. Plump, local clams are breaded and fried until crispy, then loaded into a split-top hot dog bun, just like its lobster cousin. She reprised the role of herself in the series Bandwagon, the series, which lasted 2 seasons and 15 episodes. It followed the same self-indulgent movie star, at times clueless, most of the time very funny. Life after Buffy. It's not all acting for Emma Caulfield. Sure, you can get fried clams on their own, but why not add some more carbs? Maryland, Coddy's crab cakes are the must-eat item in Baltimore, but Coddy's are what locals eat all the time. She had a hand in developing a graphic novel. In 2012, Caulfield co-wrote with Camilla Outson-Ranson the story of Controposi, a cat with an itch that needs scratching. It is most definitely adult-oriented, but you wouldn't come to expect anything else from Emma Caulfield. As an actress, Emma Caulfield went on to star in many more TV series and movies, and quite frankly, it's sort of a surprise she hasn't made a bigger name for herself. They're a potato and salt cod cake that's deep-fried for a crispy crust, then served with 2 saltine crackers and mustard. The origins of this very unique snack are disputed, but they've been popular for at least a century at soda fountains, delis and taverns in the area. Massachusetts, Fluffernutter, Michigan, Boston Cooler. Weirdly enough, Detroit's Boston Cooler has nothing to do with Boston. She has appeared in TV series such as Life Unexpected, Gigantic, and Royal Pains. It's a dessert drink made by blending vanilla ice cream and Michigan's favorite local soda, Verner's, until smooth, like a thin shake. She played the blind witch on Once Upon a Time, and also appeared in the TV series Fantasy Hospital. On the feature film side, Caulfield has been seen in Why Am I Doing This?, Timer, Removal, and Telling of the Shoes. Emma Caulfield, now 47 years old. Emma Caulfield goes by Emma Caulfield Ford after marrying Mark Leslie Ford in 2017. It might be named after a Detroit street or neighborhood, but even if it's a complete mystery, the beloved Verner's makes it Michigan through and through. Minnesota, lutefisk. Lutefisk is dried cod that has been soaked in lye to preserve it. The couple have a child together, Knightley Lake Ford, born in 2016. Emma Caulfield's most recent on-screen work was in 2017 on an episode of Fear of the Walking Dead, and then in 2020 on Interrogation. It was brought to Minnesota by Norwegian immigrants, and it's still a popular church hall dinner.
After that, she only has one more project lined up, appearing in I'm Charlie Walker. Here's to hoping that somehow, someway, we get to see more of her in the near future. To make it safe for eating, it needs to be soaked in water for a couple days, and it results in a pungent and gelatinous fillet. It's an acquired taste, but luckily there will always be lots of melted butter to pour over it. Missouri, St. Paul sandwich. Another sandwich with a geographic name. Legend has it that the creator of this one actually did name it after their hometown. The St. Paul sandwich is Chinese-American fusion, made with an egg foo young patty with optional meat, pickles, lettuce, tomato and mayo in between sliced white bread. It was probably created to appeal to American palates, and it's still popular today. Montana, Rocky Mountain oysters. Rocky Mountain oysters have nothing to do with seafood. It's just the cheeky name given to these deep-fried treats, since Rocky Mountain bull testicles didn't sound so nice. They're cut into strips, breaded and deep-fried, like so many favorite appetizers. The best place to eat them is on a ranch, where they're sometimes cooked up fresh from the bull, but many restaurants serve them too. New Hampshire, poutine French fries are a go-to comfort food already, but top them with cheese curds and gravy and they're next level. The French-Canadian heritage of many New Hampshireites has led to a bastion of poutine lovers. You can get a classic, no-frills version all over the place, or fancy stuff in nice restaurants topped with all kinds of things. There's even a poutine festival. New York, garbage plate. Though the name does not inspire confidence, the garbage plate is a Rochester delicacy, especially after a night of drinking. It was created at Nick Tahau Hots, probably in the 1910s, when hungry students asked for big plates of whatever garbage. Today, the plate includes a base of starchy things like home fries and mac and cheese, meat like hamburger patty or hot dog, meat sauce, onions and mustard. North Dakota, Nefla. It's difficult to get more comfort from a bowl than with Nefla. It's a creamy German or Russian chicken-based soup named after the small dumplings that float in it. The chicken stock is thickened to almost a stew consistency, and potatoes add a second hit of carbs. It's great for taking the chill out of you on blustery winter days. Pennsylvania, cold cheese pizza. No, we're not talking leftover pizza from the fridge. At pizza joints dotting the state, they serve Ohio Valley-style pizza, which is made by cooking the crust with only tomato sauce, and then piling cold toppings, shredded cheese and all, on top before serving. The contrast between the warm crust and cold cheese is said to be the main appeal. Rhode Island, Stuffy's clams are abundant in the Rhode Island shores, including giant quahogs which are about the size of a fist. Arguably the best way to prepare them is stuffing them, turning them into what locals call stuffies. The clams are chopped, then mixed with bread, Portuguese sausage, bell peppers and spices, and then packed back into the shells before baking. South Carolina, Ben Wafers. South Dakota, Chislic. There's a lot of meat to be had in South Dakota, so it makes sense to turn it into a snack and not just an entree. Chislic are cubes of meat that have been deep-fried, seasoned simply with spices like garlic powder or seasoned salt, and served with crackers or just a toothpick. The meat can be lamb, beef or game meats like deer, and is usually served medium or medium rare. Texas, pickle juice snow cone. One of the most popular flavors of snow cone in Texas is pickle juice. At shaved ice stands, they carry all the typical flavors like cherry and lime, but there's also a salty, acidic pickle version that uses pickle brine instead of syrup. If you really want something different, ask for a piccadilly, made with pickle juice, chamoy, and red Kool-Aid. Utah, frog eye salad. Vermont, maple creamy. Virginia, peanut pie. Wyoming, fry bread tacos. Fry bread is an irresistible fluffy, chewy deep-fried bread. It can be eaten plain or topped with honey, fruit or savory ingredients, like taco fillings. Because the fry bread base is large and a little unwieldy, fry bread tacos are more like a taco salad, but even better. To make it even more Wyoming, look for versions that use ground bison as the filling.